Will housing crash? Let's have a look. Good afternoon, everyone. Florian.heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. I've got my stein of coffee, and I hope you're all having a good and productive Saturday. I thought we'd have a look at two articles speaking about the potential housing crash that could happen here in Australia. Now, the first one is a piece saying that we should all be skeptical of this housing crash, and there's others out there speaking of the resilience of the Australian property sector. Now, I just did a previous video over 2.7 million jobs at risk. Every day we're hearing of thousands of people that are losing their jobs, and the global economy is pretty much in recession, if not heading towards a prolonged depression. But somehow housing is expected still to be good. What do you think, guys? What do you think? Do you think property will magically stay at a certain level, or are people going to just hold on as long as they can? And then when they get desperate, that's when we might see an impact. I think housing will be a lagging part of this economic downturn that we're having here in Australia. But let's see what we're being told in the media. So a housing crash forecast should be viewed with skepticism for now. Recent restrictions on in-house and on-site auctions are making some nervous about the housing market, but speculative reports of a coming crash in values are flawed, writes Aidan Devine. Are they? And this is an opinion piece. So the illness has upended almost every part of our lives, so it seems inevitable it would come for our homes. There's speculation home prices could fall up to 20% due to fallout from the pandemic, and understandably people are worried, but I'd caution against reading too much into early predictions. Well, yes, 20% may be too optimistic. It may certainly be too optimistic. I mean, here we have, this is arrears data from Queensland, Northern Territory, Western Australia. I wonder how this is going to look in the future. I was reading as well elsewhere that they're banning evictions. So if you can't get evicted, and what are you going to do? You're just going to save the money? Hoard the cash? What will people do? What will investors do? This is it, guys. This can't just go on forever. There's going to be some fundamental problems in the property sector. And the biggest issue with Australia is we're a hugely debt-laden country. 57% of our wealth has been put into property. This is why our economy is so primitive. Why there's only one company that's making all of our medical equipment and PPE for the health sector. So economists who specialize in housing market analysis can take months to develop price forecasts, but new virus predictions have been thrown about by so-called experts within hours of government announcements. I'd question exactly what experts who have put a number on coming price drops are basing their predictions on, since there's little historic precedent for the kind of changes we're experiencing. Exactly. I mean, this is the thing. Economists aren't always right by any measure. Let's look at my favorite chart here, the RBA wage price index forecasts. Okay? So, who has faith in experts anyway? I mean, it just seems like common sense, like this sector will take a hit. The stock market has taken a hit. Unemployment is going to grow at depression levels. So if say you're unemployed, let's play a scenario here. Say you're unemployed, you've lost your job, your wife's lost their job, you're at home, you've got an investment property that's not making any money. Are you going to sell it to cash up? You're getting desperate, you're late in your mortgage repayments, you've been, you're at the end of your 6-month, 6-month reprieve from payments. Now you need to make more. What are you going to do? This is why it's a lagging indicator, because they're doing everything they can to prop this up. And also, people seem to think that you flick a switch, the economy's back to normal. It's not gonna happen instantaneously. So, and let's keep in mind that our biggest property research companies and lenders, who often invest the most resources into developing predictions, have yet to issue comprehensive new forecasts. Well, that's true, but I critical and skeptical of their predictions and their methodology. I mean, just look at the auction clearance rates, and a lot of us, that data is used to make predictions. And we've found from the data that Fresh Canvas data mined that there is it is incorrect, the data they're pushing out. There's inherent bias to overreport positive results. So, I mean, do we trust them? Do we trust them? I think it's fair to expect prices to take a hit, but anyone putting a precise number on those decreases is making pure guesswork at this stage. Well, that's what any predictions are. It's all guesswork. No matter how much research or preparation you put into it or economic modeling, variables can change. There's no certainty in any of these things. So I don't understand why he's writing this piece. We also have to remember there's a huge level of variance in housing markets across the country. What may be true for one market may not be true for another, and each property is different. Well, okay, there's a few points there. He's right there. There's a huge variance, but we keep hearing that the market is doing well, and they just show us unicorn properties that are at the upper echelon. And most properties are pretty much the same. A standard spec house is slightly different in a suburb. I mean, come on, guys. My rundown Queenslander isn't that different to another rundown Queenslander. Oh, we're slightly closer to a few things. Oh, there's a slight price difference in this suburb to that that suburb. But we're talking here a drastic change to our entire economy. It's in lockdown. The global economy is in recession. How can anyone expect property not to take a hit? The only way prices are going to stay at a certain level, I think, will be through the QE, money printing being generated into the economy, and then inflation is going to, property is still up, it's going up, it's fantastic, but a loaf of bread costs $50. Will we get there? I hope not. The best quality properties in popular locations will hold their value better than, say, cookie cutter style units in less accessible suburbs. Yeah, but who cares? That goes without saying. That's not news. That's not insightful. That's obvious. I mean, we can just see it here in unit price growth. How many people live in the poor people, proletarian suburbs? How many people got all their wealth locked up in just their house and expect to retire on that? How many people are in the paper with going, I bought one property, then another. I've got 30. Join my course to learn how to use my super system to become a millionaire in property. We'll have to see if some of them are knocked down a peg. So let's also consider the types of properties likely to be listed during the crisis. It's reasonable to expect a large portion of sellers will sit on the fence and wait for everything to blow over. Well, yes, but how long will it take to blow over? I mean, China's meant to have everything under control, but does anyone trust the numbers coming out of there? Many of the sales that will proceed will come from those forced to sell or those with some approaching deadline that necessitates selling quickly. Being in that situation is never ideal for a vendor in any market, so the experience of these sellers may not give an accurate indication of how sales are progressing in the market as a whole. But my understanding is the market's pretty much in shutdown. We were looking this morning or earlier today, of the 2.7 million jobs at risk, 130,000 of them are in the real estate sector. So there are countless other variables to consider, and it can get complicated accounting for them all. That's why modeling future price movements often takes so much time. Is it accurate, though? Is it ever accurate? This is a black swan event that couldn't have been predicted. Don't get me wrong, we could all use a bit of certainty in these trying times. I'd also like a better sense of how everything is going to work out and what direction we're headed. But let's not jump to major conclusions just yet. So, I mean, here we go. This is a piece to get everyone to not be concerned with a property price crash. I mean, what do you think, guys? What do you think? Do you think the valuations of these properties that we have now, do you think they're actually worth what they're saying? We'll have to see. What are your predictions? Your completely inaccurate predictions just based on your assumptions. Well, massive unemployment. I mean, let's have a look at what happened to property in the Great Depression. But that was very different to today, because we're mortgaged to the hilt. How are people going to be able to afford to pay these huge mortgages with the extra money they're getting from Centrelink? A lot aren't. So we will have to see, guys. It's all going to be fine. I mean, because the economists haven't done the predictions, and they're always accurate. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below, guys. Do you think this is just a piece to make people not worry about property falling? Or is it someone who's got the blinkers on to what's going to happen? Anyway, thank you all for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. If you're a fan of the channel, there are a few ways you can support us. You can join the channel on YouTube or on Patreon for a small monthly fee. You can use our affiliate links at Amazon or eBay for your consumer purchases. You can also use our referral links at Independent Reserve or Kucoin for the crypto traders out there. You can buy our merch from HeiseSays. We've got pocket squares that Rachel made, or from Teespring at the link below. You can use PayPal to donate to us directly, or Goldpass to send us gold. Thank you all very much. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.